Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to be working with our Node.js API and doing the employee endpoint that is missing in order to make it work. For that, we need to remember that we're actually doing for our view for the directory. And we are saving name of the person, we are saving the department, the area or the company itself. What else do we have there? Actually, this is the position, and we need to add the position there, and we need to add the quote. So we need to actually modify our schema for our particular employee. So in employee, we just have name, email, and the department ID in order to tag it to company and department. This will be like a multi-company architecture. In order to make it, we can do a different quotes, but I want to simplify at the moment. So I want to just add quote, will be string, as simple as that. And I think we can actually do, if we do it like this, I think could be optional. That we can send the quote or we can skip it and it doesn't matter. It's allowed to have nodes there. And the other things that we can actually have will be positioning. And probably the position is the one to be handled through the department, but let's say in this case, let's just create a simple position or title, a simple string. That should be enough. This will allow us to do a simple npx Prisma migrate and development, and I will added missing employees field. And just wait for a couple of minutes in order to see that our database just got changed with those new ones. So after it's finished, in this case already added, the client was run it ourselves, and we just can proceed working in our application. So let's do a simple npm run dev to keep it running. And let's continue working with the employee endpoint itself. For that will be really simple. Actually, before we work on that, let's add those and put it here. Added employee missing fields. Let's sync it. That's okay, you get pushed, doesn't matter. And after we have those, let's work in the rest of the element. So the first thing that we need to look at will be in our source models. We just pretty much mimic what we already have in person, but now with employees. Remember, persons is using the local, how can I describe this, the local array. So it's like an in-memory, let's say like that, a database. Really bad one, of course. So let's actually do the real one through the employees. .javascript. And let's actually mimic whatever we have here in departments. For this one. So we do import. Actually, we import the database and we do, yes, I like this one. Get employees. And when employee with one specific ID. We can do add an employee. I like this. With a specific department ID. And we can do the update employee. That's pretty much look for that particular employee. And we just update it right away. And we can do a last one, deleted employee, where we pretty much look for that particular employee itself. We have the get employee, get employees in plural, get employee itself. We got the added employee, updated employee, and deleted employee. I think we have the whole elements here in order to make it work the way it's supposed to be. Now, we should be adding some kind of validation, of course, verify that the name is correct, department ID, things like that. Right? And actually, let's see what we're doing here. Actually, this is not just the data itself. Will be an object. Let's call this employee data. And we pretty much, we can say our employee data and our department is the one that will be saved on the update sites. And something similar, we do it through here, like this. That means this could be an object, and we send that object to be in order to create our particular employee. And I think that should be it. And when we have it like this, we can actually update an employee, and we can use the update section just to add, or can explain that the particular quote. So let's add the endpoint now for the employee. Let's go to the root API, new file, employees, import router from Express. We initialize the router itself, and then we can actually do something really similar what we did with the department endpoint. We actually need to import the different objects from employees model. So we need to do import get employee in plural from models employee. That work. Let's actually get also add employee, and we can do the rest of the endpoint. Let's do update employee and delete employee. Let's actually import all of them. Now that we have those, we can actually do an asynchronous call to get everybody. We can actually do a specific ID to get a specific employee that exists. If not, we just send it back that it doesn't exist. We close this. And we're missing close this one too. We can add a post request that will wait to add that particular employee, get the information from the body, and then send that one back. We can just put, it will be just update somebody, will be similar. We get the employee, we update it, and if that actually came back, access system, we can just update it, send it that back, or that particular employee doesn't exist. It's pretty much what we're saying here. Oops. Let me get at the end. And then at the lead endpoint, we'll simple let it lead portion. And that's it. That's actually really, really simple. You see that the pattern is the same all over, and it looks like a more repetitive code. We can actually streamline that a little bit better. But just to have it like that, we have an understanding for the different endpoints and what need to be done and what need to be created with the different GET requests, post, put, and delete. Now that we have the whole employees endpoint, we need to put them in our index again. And we do something really similar to this. It will be employees. And something really similar to this, where we can actually do the employee section. That's it. That should be more than enough in order to make an employee work the way they're supposed to. Let's open just as a reference or schema. And let me put this to the right. And let me open on the left my Thunder client. So what I want to do my Thunder client, I want to create a new employee. So if I do get request to employee in plural, refused by the server, probably need to do the migrate again. Router use didn't like something here. Let me see what is that. Actually, let me just close it, try to run it. And it's fixing the router index. So probably I have a typo somewhere. Let me get back what I did. So we get the router from Express. We import for different elements. Oh, we need to export default router. We're missing the exports here. After that, let's see. Yes. Oh, it's running the application again. So if I make a call, of course, we have our authentication piece. If I get a get request to get nobody, let me do a post. Let me see the body element and let me send a different object here. Let's do name. Let's do Rodolfo. In this case, let's do email. Let's do my email here. Well, we can fake it. Let's do at example.com. Right, let's do my title. Let's do, I don't know. CEO. Why not? Department. ID. It will be the tricky one because I actually need to send a real department ID. Let me see if I can duplicate this. Let me make a call to get department. Departments. API. I'm actually departments. Was missing a T there. Let me do technology department. Let's change this to IT manager or CIO. And let's do the department ID will be this one. What else? And the quote is not okay. If I do like that, connection forcibly closed by peer. We have an issue. Probably let's see what happened there. Department for data department is missing. That should not happen. Oh, department ID looks like it's undefined. Oh, let's see what happened there. Let me restart the server. Department ID? I'm actually doing right. If I do a post again, get close, and didn't like. Find unique where employee ID. No, wait. Employee create where the data is Rodolfo. Emails there. Department ID is look like it's not finding it. Like it's actually not able to read it. And probably that's why it's It's having issues. Something is happening here. Let me see what is happening there. Okay, I was able to make it work, and yes, my auto completion actually did a trick to me that is not supposed to. So I was able just to post this information with the correct department ID, and I'm able to get my new employee, that's pretty much me, working the way it's supposed to be, okay? And the change that needed to happen, it was on the model. So let me go back to the employees model. And my add employee actually needed to send the department ID as a parameter. I'm actually not sending the department ID, like because the department ID is inside the employee data itself. So I just need to pretty much send the employee data and then the employee data through here. That should be more than enough. And in our API endpoint, and actually query this, let me get it out. I'm just sending the request body, and that should be more than enough. So in doing that, I can actually see my service running, and I can do another under client. Let me see over here. I can get another one. Let's call somebody else. Call another. Let's call this manager, and to the same department. Let me send that as a post request. It just got created. If I do a get request without anything to the employees, I should get both. And if I get myself just with through the ID, should be able to get all that. Pretty cool, right? What I like to do now, in order to make a put request, I should be able, and let me see how the code is. So for the put request, I just sending update a particular employee with an ID and send the body back. Let me see how that looks like in my model. I don't need to send the department ID. I can get rid of that data. I can do const employee equal. Let's make this a little bit better. Get employee in singular, where we actually send the ID. And this will be asynchronous. We will get to the get employee. Const employee will synchronous get employee. Yes. And I have an issue here. What is the issue? Await is actually. Should be an await, not asynchronous. And this one will be under this. Okay. And I need to return the last one. Perfect. We are there. We get an employee, and if an employee exists, pretty much we look for that employee. If not, we just return null. Return database employee, where employee ID is that one. We're going to be sending another just to get something particular. Let me do my employee, and then my employee data. So here what I'm doing is in order to be saving one particular employee, I don't need to send all the object back because I already retrieved that object. Let me show you what I'm talking about. That means if I go to my Thunder client, if I do a pull request, I know this one is me, and as, instead of sending everything, I should be able to send just the quote, and I can actually put just hello there. I updated the element without placing the rest of the data. That's pretty much it. And I think the only thing that need to change here that is not doing what it's supposed to is the updated at in this particular case, because I already have a data. So in order to keep this consistency the way that it's supposed to, let's go to our employee. Let me close this. Employee model. We get the employee, we get the employee data, and then we get the updated at will be new date. I think. Let me save that. There should be more than enough. So let me see if I send through my Thunder client. Let's can change this. Here we go again. Let's see what happened. Perfect. It just got changed, and my updated app, it just created at the exact time that I'm actually sending the information. If let's remove all this, let me update myself again to hello, which should be seeing later time in updated app. There you go. We are updating the information live. Let's just put the last one because I actually like this. And that should be it. Let's add all the elements and let's do add it, employee, endpoint. And the last thing that I would like to work is through pagination. It will be important. In this case, it doesn't matter much, but we're just getting employees, all the employees, but in this case, we just have 2 of them. What happened is we have multiple, like hundreds of employees. And probably we should be creating a really small utility. So I will keep my server running, and I will keep this open. I will just open a new tab in my terminal, keeping my server running. Let me do back 1 level. I will create a new folder. You can do that through your Windows Explorer. And you can do mkdir and then cd inside, but I have a utility called mkcd. I create the folder and go in. And let's call this demo batch. Let me do a simple npm init. .j. Perfect, just a demo batch information. Let's do a simple touch index.javascript file. Let's do npm e axios. What else? I think that should be more than enough. Let's open this. And what I just created here is a simple demo element. I should be able, oops, in my index, let's do import axios from axios. And let's do the API axios create. In this case will be base rel. Yeah, makes sense. It doesn't matter that is We have the credentials here, the URL. We are not going to deploy this. Let's do a simple authorization because it's a basic out. And let's do username admin and password admin. This is the one that I'm using. And that should be enough. And let's do, no, let's not export it. Let's do a simple, let's see if it actually works. Let's do console.log. Actually, let's do cons companies equal API, wait, API dot get through a, and we need to simple get to our API companies response. Actually, let's just get our data element here, and let's call these companies, and we should be able to log out the companies. So keeping our server running, as you can see here, I will just open my terminal where I am in the new one, and I can do a simple node index. Oh, didn't like it because type model. I need to do something like in our package.json. I need to change this type to module. Let me try again. There you go. I'm able to go and fetch my companies. I mean, I'm able to do the call the way they're supposed to. That way, I should be able to just install Faker. And I can do a batch creation of element in order not to do those manually and have more information there. So let's do, let me minimize this, let me maximize this. Let's pre-populate the data. So we have the companies. Probably we don't need it. Let's do departments. Departments. And let's log out the departments. We call it again. Get two different departments. Okay. Can get just the department ID probably. Once department IDs will be, if this is an array, what I need to do is a simple reduce. I need to extract. Let's do a simple like this, simple empty array, and for every department of departments. No, that we can do a simple departments dot map. So let's go for every department, and we're going to be sending department IDs dot push the department ID. Yeah, probably that should work. And let me show you what I'm doing. Let me save that. Department ID in plural, department ID in plural, department ID, and this should be in plural. There you go. So let me save this. So what I'm doing here, I'm just pretty much getting the call, like getting all the departments, and then just extracting the department ID and putting it inside an array. So if I do node, I should get just an array of departments, and I'm doing just to do a random department ID whenever I create the different person. That's it. Okay, so I get my department's ID, repopulated. I can do now in my terminal, I think we can install Faker. And we can install it with a simple npm install at faker.js. That's faker. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Cool. And then in our code, let's do a simple, let me see where we can actually do it. Let me see, where should be, give me a second. Okay, we should be able to do something like this. Import faker from as faker, JavaScript faker. Cool. And we should be able to do taking the same code that we had before. First name, faker first name, full name, first name with last name. Cool. Then we can do the email. Yeah. Then we can do the permanent ID and random array element for those ones to get one random department ID. Will be more than enough. What else we can need to do? Probably the quote. Const quote equal faker dot lorem paragraph. We need to do the title too. Const title equal faker dot name dot job title, I believe. Yeah, there you go. Job title. And the department will be through the department ID. And I think those are the elements. Let me see what else do we have. So we have the name, will be the full name, the email, the title, the department ID, and the quote. That should be it. And let's do simple for let e equal 0 when e is less than 10, e plus plus. Let's do this 10 times. We initialize all of this. Cool. And then we can actually do API post, API employees. Perfect. And let's do something really similar like my auto-completion is doing. But it's not exactly like this. We're going to post to API employees, and we need to send the name. Will be my full name. Email have the same name. Title have the same name. Department ID will be the department ID. Okay, perfect. And quote will be quote. And that should be it. So if I run this little batch example, it should be able to do an API call 10 times, insert somebody fake in the database itself. Let's see if it works. So I have my API still running locally. Let me run it. Okay, didn't like it. Array element, okay, the random one. Let me see that section. How can I do something really simple with the random? Let me check. Faker random. I'm looking actually to this information here. So random generates a value of different kinds. Alphanumeric, no. Local, no. Numeric, either. Word, no. Words in plural, no either. Actually, it doesn't do the random the way that I think it was doing it. Let's do a simple look for get something random from an array. And that's array math floor. True, all right. Actually, I like this. Okay, where month is actually the permanent ID. Okay, so we can actually do this. Let's go back to our code, on our bash code. Let's change this one. So let's do the permanent ID will be the permanent is in plural. And we're going to be getting this element. So random generates a random number from 0 to 1. We multiply for the length and do the floor in order to get between the number that it should be here. That's it. And we just get in the permanent ID through that. This is a simple call. Let's go back to Node.js. Let me just call it. Let me see if it worked. It's finished. It didn't give me any error. Let me get back through here. Let me get all the employees. Oops. Should be a get to all the employees. And now we have a bunch of employees there. Ring Waters. Here you go. Anthony Lockman. And all those are already in our database. How cool is this? Right, with the different quotes in there, including myself, somebody else, and Rodolfo right here. Neat. So let's do one last thing. This is just to pre-populate our data. Let's do this another 100 times. And let's do a simple console log done. And let's do it here. Console.log. Let's do batch. Actually, let's do like this. Let's do batch. Actually, not. It's not a batch. It's one by one. Let's inserting random number, and let's give it here the actually I element. And then at the end, we just got console log done. If I do Node.js index, we should get insert random. There you go. Actually, it should start with 1, but that's okay. That way we are seeing that we are actually pushing with the batch. It's been just inserting those 100 elements there. Let's see if this actually finishes the way that it's supposed to be. There you go. 9, done. Perfect. So if I do headers here, do I have something there? No, I don't have information here. But we can see that we are on line 122. If I do another call, we're just getting everybody. As you can see, just got over 1,000 lines because we have all the new employees right there. It will be a little bit overwhelming in a real scenario. And usually what we need to do is pagination. So that batch was just to create fake data in the database. we were using to create fake data in the View app. Now we just create a fake data on the database side. What I want to use is a pagination side that Prisma already has. And Prisma is able to just skip a specific amount and take a specific amount. So we define many elements. Saying this, it should be really easy to just create a pagination element in our API. So let's go to our employee data where we have the fin many. And here we're going to be doing something different. We're going to do a skip, a specific, and we need to take a specific. That one will be here. Let's do skip, by default is 0, and take by default is 10. Let's save this. And with just little change, we should be able to make the call. Let's get back to the Thunder client. Let's get the employees, and we should be able to get only 10 employees. Run it, right? Now, how can we override that? I want to be able to send how many to take or how many to use through query parameters. The same way that we actually use our API endpoint. So we can actually, now that our model uses those as default, actually we can keep it those like this. Take and skip. And let's actually do in our endpoint, when we get the employees in plural, we should be able by default, let's do once take will be request dot params request dot query is not parameter, it's going to be a query. Let's call this query size. If we provide that, we should be able to send the take here. Or 0 by default, we're telling it actually or 0. And because this is by default, this is a string, let's change it to number. There you go. So take will be the request size or 0 by default, and the skip will be the page or 0 by default, and actually take should be the size, should be 10. And we should be able to do skip, take. And that's it. With those one, we should be able to do a simple, oops, let's get back to our Thunder client. And we change this as a query parameters. And let me show you what those are. We should go here, let's do get. We get the same 10. But if I change to my query and my size, and I change my size to 2, and is built sent as a query parameter, now just get it 2 different elements, Bernadette and Jared, and those are the first 2. Let's do 3. We should get Bernadette, Jared, and somebody else. There you go. And Brooke. If we do 1, we should get Bernadette in this case. Let's do 3 again. Let's get a 3. If we do 40, I don't know, we should get allowed them. So now we are actually able to pre-populate that, or if we don't send it, let's remove it. We just get 10 by default. Pretty neat, right? Not only that, let's actually take 2 for now. And we know that the second one is Jared. Let's take 3. 4. Bernadette, Jared, Brooke, and Modesto. Well, let's do, and how we call it? That's the take, it should be the size, yes. And the page, we just get in page 0. Actually, page should be number request query page, multiply it by my size or my take. Yeah, should be like that. So we can actually have a specific number of pages that should be deployed there. And with that, we should be able to get back to our API endpoint. Where is it here? Oh, we can actually do page. If we do size 4 and we do page 1, we should get from Jared and go on. You see it? Oops, we get something else. Oh, yes, we get the next 4. Nice. So let me get page 0. Bernadette, Jared. Let's change this to 1 and do page 1. We should get Jared in this case. And if I do page 2, size 1, I should get Brooke. Let's see it. Jared, full, Brooke. There you go. So we're able to paginate by the size that we have in our element. If you don't send the size, the page will be by 10 elements by default. And that's the way that we're going to be using those in our API endpoint through Vue.js. And that's the way that we'll be able to paginate that particular information. So let's see here. So what I want to change is to my page. Instead of doing page 0, I want to do page 1. I think it makes sense. And whatever I have here in my model, if I do page 1 of 10, in reality will be take -1. So take will be, skip actually will be my page -1 element. Pretty much. I think that should be it in order to be able to send the page 1 as the first one, the way that I would like to be doing it. So let me verify that through the Thunder client. Let me get size 1, page 1. I get Bernadette. Perfect. If I say size 2, page 1, Jared and Brooke. If I remove the page, Bernadette. If I do the 1, Jared and Brooke. Probably I'm doing something wrong here. How can I expect this to be doing what it's supposed to with the page? Actually, this should be the same. Skip will be whatever I'm sending there, and probably here will be skip -1. And then how much I will take. I think no, wait. No, skip will be indifferent. Actually, we'll skip will be the page size minus 1 by how many I will take. Yes. I'm just thinking here how to keep it as starting with 1 always. Let's see if it's actually doing what it's supposed to. Let me go back to here. So I get 2 different guys. That is page 1. Okay, it's working. I get Jared and Brooke by default. Jared and Brooke, that's 1. Let me send this size 1. I should get Jared now. And page 2, I should get Jared. I should not get Jared. Page 3, page 1, Jared. Page 2. I'm doing something wrong here. How can we work with skip before 0? Let me try to think that a little bit. I think this should be 0. Like, I shouldn't skip anybody. Because if I send page 1, let's say it. Let's take, actually, cons. I like this approach. Let's do size page equal from request dot query. And then we can say escape will be size by page -1. I actually like that. And take will be size multiplied by page. No. Take will be size in reality. I'm trying to think a little bit out of the box. So if size is not defined, how can we define this? Probably this should be a little bit different in reality. On size equal request dot query dot size or 10 by default. I think this is reasonable. And page will be something like this. Request the query page or 1. So we can have a default value if those ones are not being provided. And the skip will be the size. Let's say it's 10 but page -1. So I'm asking for page 1. So I will skip 0 because it will be 1 - 1, 0. And that should be enough. And the stake will be always the size. I think this is enough. I already saved it. My API is still running. Cool. Let's go to the one last test with size 1, page 1. I didn't like it. Why didn't I like it now? Oh, I'm sending a string. I need to send a number. I'm not converting this to a number the way it's supposed to. Item. So will be number of that. And it should be number of the page. Okay. Let's see if the API is running. Yes. And if we do a simple call again, let's see it. So we're Bernadette. Okay, we're doing what it's supposed to. Change the size with Bernadette and Jared. If we do 2, size 1, we should get Jared now only. Nice. If we do page 1, Bernadette again. Boom. Page 3, Brooke. Okay, now it's doing what it's supposed to. Perfect. So our size on our page is actually working. And that will be what we will be choosing in our Vue.js app. What I want to do, like a one last result, is to understand how many elements we are actually getting back and how many elements are missing. And as we saw before, that type of information can be sent through the header. So I want to create a header that it says how many elements are and how many pages are. So probably we can do that. Let's add this element here. Let's just do commit really quick. Let's do edit page and size. Let's sync it. That's okay. And let's do one last thing, and that will be in our model. So we're just returning find many employees. So probably what we need to be doing, and this should be actually a wait. Well, it's already in the return element. Let's grab this out and let's do a simple return like this. We're doing the same for now. Let's do const count equal, and wait, actually will be db dot employees dot count. So that way we should be able to count everything, and we should be able, and then we can do a simple const employee find many with a skip and take, and we can return the count and the employee. Yeah, I like it. So we count everybody. We send those back. And we send them the count and the employee now. So this endpoint will change just a little bit, because this will actually provide us two different elements, and we can actually send those back an object or as an array. Let's send those as an array better. No, let's do it as an object. That's okay. And we should be able to do const. We can extract count employees from there. And we should be able to do res.getter. We should be able to create a simple header over here. So we can actually do several ones. Let's do external count. I like it, will be the count. And we can do that should be it. That way we can do calculations. So we have the header with the external count, and we can do pages probably. X dash total pages count with this seal. I like it. And the size. Perfect. And let me show you what those two are. If we go back to our Thunder client, and if we do page 1, size 1, I didn't like it. Again, let's see what happened. Okay, there is no function. Or probably I'm doing wrong. Let's do a simple. How can I say response header on Express? Let's see if this actually works. Oh, set. It's not the word header, it's actually set. So I should be able to change this to set. Let's see if API is running. It is. And let's do one last call for Thunder client. Didn't like it. Let's see if we are getting the headers. Total count. Oh, it's an object. And page it is a not a number. We need to await that information. We are not waiting it. So we'll wait this here. But because we actually not returning those through here, we need to do await. Await. In order to get the data in. Let's see it one more time. We're getting one, and the headers, total count, 111, and total pages 111, 112, sorry. Because we're doing size of 1. If we do it by size of 10, we need to have 12 pages in total, and we're just getting page number 1. And we're just getting 10 elements. If we do 100, it should be 2 pages. So we're able to provide that information back. And we can do a calculation later for our directory, the way that we have it. And let me show that right here. For pagination, we should be able to calculate how many pages I want to be showing and to determine which page we are in order to make the call as it's supposed to be. That's it. So I really hope that you like it. Let's add those information here. Let's add it. Add it. Count headers. Let's sync it. And meanwhile it gets synced, I should be able to go to the panel. Hopefully this is working. Because I already pushed it. Yes, I already pushed it. Let me go back in. I should be able to see my directory API. And let me see monitoring. Thing already done. Preview deployments. Streaming log right now. Okay, looks like it's working. So yeah, it looks like it's working. But the other way to see if it's actually doing what it's supposed to is change again our local host to our, in my case, https api.roman.com, and I get in my total count, perfect, my pages, and my data. And because we are using the same database, that's why we get the same data information there. So now I'm able to make the call as it's supposed to. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's do 3. And there you go. So I think we're done. I really hope that you like it. Any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody!